and go next, get maybe a little bit of a better draft. This time around, they picked up the Brewmaster and the Oracle, and this already looks a bit better. Like Brewmaster is a hero that, when played by Pasha, brings a lot of utility and a lot of teamfight control to the side of Virtus.pro. So, and Oracle again played by Solo. It should be an easier time for him as he's not going to be cycloned in the air all the time when Brew is split. So he should be able to put out all of his spells and actually be useful in these fights. At the same time, Empire went with Shadow Shaman and Doom. Picking up that Shadow Shaman again, a hero that brings a lot of push, and Doom, pretty much a legit standard offlane hero at the moment. With that Devour, is really hard to zone out unless you have some strong counters such as Nyx or Monkey or Ursa.
Quite like the transition of that hero as well, because when they first changed him up, everyone was just maxing the Devour and then just going straight into this tanky Crimson Guard build, right? Whereas at the moment, I think we're seeing a huge transition towards Scorched Earth builds where you go for like drums and Vlads and you ramp up that mid-game aggression.
Mm-hmm. I can't say that I agree too much with the Scorched Earth build. I think why we're seeing it a lot is because one or two games I've seen players pick it versus heroes such as Juggernaut or heroes that they had to escape against, and then everyone started doing it. Scorched Earth does help you definitely in some aspects of the game. The damage is alright, but I still like the Devour a little bit more. However, Terrorblade, when you pick it for VP, it's basically Ramsey saying, just give me this hero, I'm gonna win you the game. And TB in this game is looking all right. You have the Oracle for save, so you won't, most likely you won't die before you use that Sunder. And you're playing versus Nature's Prophet, so your armor is really good versus Treants. Nature's Prophet is most likely going to be that position 5, however. We haven't talked about the Tiny. Roger, we don't really see him on this hero very often, but he's a very good position 4 Tiny. He can rotate a lot and create a bunch of space for his team. And in the end, catching up with that Outworld Devourer, it brings Empire a little bit of control with the Astral, but most importantly, obviously, is the damage that this hero can output. He's a strong laner, and he's also pretty good versus TB, versus all of these heroes from VP. As if he gets enough farm, if he has a good laning stage, he can pretty rough him up.
I just saw that ban on the co-op, which I guess is not really surprising because the thing I was going to highlight is you look at the state of the drafts. By going for this TB, VP kind of leave themselves with a vulnerable underbelly, maybe in that mid game where they have to not only be active on the map but protect this TB because you can't underestimate the presence of the Prophet. I mean, you mentioned how good TB is with that armor against the physical damage, but Wrath of Nature, that nuke damage is pretty insanely high. In fact, that's why a lot of teams have been kind of trying to just remove this hero from the equation recently, right?
Yeah, like you get that level 6 on Nature's Prophet eventually, no matter what. You're gonna be in the jungle farming a little bit. It's a position 5 that can't be shut down. Like sometimes you see a position 5, minute 10, he's level 3, and he can't even afford to buy that tome because his position 4 needs it. Furion is one of those 5s that can always find levels just by farming up. So AFKing a little bit in the jungle, and then you have that nuke, which is very, very strong ultimate, as you said. So getting that TB is kind of hard, but at the same time, you're not worried way too much against the Prophet. It is a support position 5 at least.
It is a
In
less
the end.
tortured support though as well, right? Like most POS 5s, they suffer from this issue. They're buying the wards, they're buying the courier, then they have to get their own regen, and we regularly see these prophets who, if they buy regen, it's not even for them. They give it across to like the core and lanes, and then they go, okay, if I'm almost dead, I'm just going to TP back to base and then instantly be back in lane. So it's kind of you have an easier balance on your net worth check, right, compared to a lot of 5s.
Mm-hmm. They go with the Ember, a hero that's very good versus the Terrorblade later on. A hero that's played by many teams at the moment as that build with the max Light of Fist is pretty legit. That Prophet last pick from VP is, yeah, they just found a hero that can work versus the OD on the mid lane. That's definitely the Death Prophet. At the same time, this Death Prophet brings you that silence versus the OD versus the Ember. That silence is very, very strong. And with that Prophet level 6, well, not always necessarily level 6, but once she does get that ulti, you can start pressuring Team Empire. You also have a save for her in the form of Oracle. So this time around, VP's lineup looks much more solid. It looks well rounded up. It makes actual sense. The only issue for them is their long cooldowns on Panda, on Terrorblade, on that Prophet. So they have to play around their cooldowns very well. While Team Empire, like, solid draft in the first game, solid draft in the second game, nothing super out of the ordinary. I believe the only difference that we might see is Dream fighting a bit more, while Kodos is going to be the one that goes away from that utility uh, hero that he was in Pango last game and into a more farming-oriented hero that OD can be if you itemize him that way.
That's a fair way of looking at it. It's interesting you bring up the cooldowns, right? So VP have created this scenario where they have to ration their ultimates, right? Because Empire do have this constant presence. And does it feel like the big thing for VP is going to be to gauge and punish any greed from Empire? Because you mentioned the Prophet. We look at heroes like the OD. These heroes want to try and supplement the farm, right? They don't just want to be on the lanes, but the moment they leave the lanes, VP can punish that.
Mm-hmm.
They lane this. Okay, so they are going to put the Doom and the Shaman together. Maybe not too much of a surprise there, and then just stick Dream with King R on this bot lane, the Nature's Prophet plus the Ember.
Yeah, this Shadow Shaman dual lane is very strong on offlane, as you have that hero that just denies everything away from the enemy carry, even versus the Terrorblade. So it's kind of difficult to deal with him. At the same time, if VP just tri-lane this, they're gonna ruin them. Dual lane in Doom and Shadow Shaman should not work versus the tri-lane.
We're giving a little bit of punishment, a little bit of preview, because that's the big issue with picking Shaman, right? Is you are useless if outnumbered. Like, you're always gonna feed a kill, whether it's you or your core. Because if you have to stay behind shackling to save your core, there's no way you're getting it.
Mm-hmm.
If they keep it that way. I mean, the good news about the Prophet is you can actually kind of win this lane exchange, where if they do stay top, you can go up there, and then if they try and trick you and TP away, you can be back in the bot lane anyway. Both sides securing opposite sides on the map runes, though, as King R will pick up 2 in the bot, and Solo, Roger will pick up the ones in top.
Yep.
Kind of the standard behavior.
Yeah, nothing really too special. Pasha, he shouldn't have a good lane on this bottom lane if Furion is there. And you can see that Kingar is doing a really good thing. He basically sent Treant to scout out the movement from Pasha to see if Pasha is going to try and go to creep skip, which is exactly what's he going to try to do. At the same time, Seiyu on the top lane is blocking creeps a bit, and he might be in problems as they do have toss. They do have the purge there.
They should have enough damage. They charge that up fully, and Seiyu will fall. Be the first blood eventually. Actually, Roger has to take it in the end, but it's always good to get it on these past 4s. Get those quick boots pickups, which he already has. He'll go straight towards the bottom next.
Yeah, he's going to have a blast. And now they're running down Madden too. Madden didn't really have a blast in that last game. Wasn't really the perfect Doom game. Panda game, sorry. This time around, he's playing Doom, and damn, he's taking a lot of damage.
I mean, what do you do here? Like, he leveled the Devour, he had nothing that you could eat, and you're a zero armor hero trying to pull a creep wave. That's not the ideal scenario.
Well, at least in the end, he did manage to make a double creep wave, I believe. Yeah, so they pulled one creep wave to the small camp, but it's not gonna matter a lot as the creep wave should still push in. As you can see, Ramses, he isn't really controlling the equilibrium on the lane that well.
And they pulled across the other camp, so he can't get that value. Nicely read from Empire, actually. Minimizing the awkwardness of the start of the lane for them.
If Doom dies, however, then all of that...
He might. That's 3 heroes versus 1. No armor again. Even with the regen from Devour, the body blocks out from Ramses. It should be enough to kill him off. Solo gets the foul.
Yeah, he even used the salve there, just realizing exactly what's happening. He tried to use the salve so he can survive and stay in the lane. This is very bad if you're Empire right now, as you just lost that Doom twice in a row, but most importantly, you lost him just as the creeps are pushing in. However, it doesn't look like VP is going to be able to deny too many of these creeps. They're not focusing on that. And because of that, this Doom is going to... Alright, this Doom is going to come back to the lane before the creeps are all gone at least. So he's not going to lose all of the experience, but he lost a lot.
I've always said, look on the positive side. You know, look at this. Your Shaman almost has level 3. He's going to probably put a second point into the Ether Shock. And you got some serious nuke value against the tri-lane. Problem is, how do you turn that into kills? I don't really know if there is a way that you're going to find kills off the back of your Shaman in this top lane. In fact, they might find kills on you. Roger, he's going to dive the tower. Avalanche comes out, toss across, says Ramses, eat up, buddy. Got another kill for you. Very far from save. Should be enough to keep him alive. They're going to try. They do get the final hit, though. Roger, the long-range punch.
Madden comes in, uses a 200 mana tornado for a second, basically wasting all of his mana. He's still level 1. Man, this is like... I don't know.
He's going to stay level 1. Look at Roger. He's just, okay, I see how you're suffering. It's time to slap more XP where I can. And you can't stop him. Like, how do you actually burn through an 800, almost 900 HP hero with a level 1 Doom and a level 3 Shaman?
You can't. You can't really do a whole lot at all. Madden is going to try and snatch this Wolf from the medium camp, get his level 2 here, but bottom lane Pasha, however, he might be the one that dies. With the boots...
Oh, he's going to run off. He's too drunk to die. Dream can't do anything either. Searing Chains in 2 seconds. TP away Pasha. Beautifully done. And while that's happening in the top lane, Shaman goes down. Terrorblade was hungry and Metamorphosis was off cooldown.
Yeah, he definitely had to TP there as Panda because of the cooldown of Sleight of Fist. You can see that he's going 2 levels of Sleight of Fist, so he's going for that very active build on Ember. He's going to be rotating across the map early on, and he has to, because Madden, he's basically a creep right now. He's irrelevant in this game, and he's going to stay that way, as he doesn't even have boots on Doom, minute 4:25.
I mean, he at least got the dream creep, the perfect creep by the Sato one.
Nah, that creep is perfect if you are actually laning, if you're able to go in the lane, take some punishment, and then heal up. So you can trade those first charges of regen effectively. But right now, when you get that creep, it doesn't really help you too much. You can farm a bit better, obviously, as you're going to have a lot of regen, but...
Oh. Lane. He can't get away from this. Roger's moving across. Avalanche is going to be there, and he can toss back. NoOne should find an easy kill on this with the help of Roger.
That's very
they got
far.
enough damage. Very far coming out. They do get the Spirit Siphon out, and that should be enough to drop him. King R does rotate in. He completes the teleport, but Roger can use the regen rune and just run this off. Takes a lot of damage from King R. Has the bottle to regen up.
He should be fine. The issue, though, is that mid lane was, well, arguably the best lane for them. Ember isn't doing too shabby either, but that mid lane, OD definitely had to roll out of control together with Ember to compensate for that horrible offlane that they're having. Which did not happen.
Get some value down here, though. Yeah, he's going to get the rune. So
Roger has to be careful.
Go back away. He's got the Avalanche. Dream doesn't have any mana either is the problem. He's got enough for Searing Chains now. He could throw it out and he will. Toss away, though. Tiny says, I don't think so. Just walks it off.
Yeah, it is Tiny after all, so you might see that he has 20% HP, but at the same time, that's 200 HP, so not really an easy kill.
Oh, I think it's fair to say that bot lane feels, while it is a win in terms of XP, you're not really punishing and shutting out this Brewmaster completely. While the other two lanes, as you said, they need the OD to ball out of control. That's not happening right now, and top lane is a disaster for the side of Empire. I don't actually remember the last time I saw Doom shut out this hard.
Yeah, they just outplayed him early on, killing him when he tried to creep skip and then killing him as he ported in. It's probably one of the worst situations that you can be in as an offlaner, like feeding your dad so that you can get a creep wave
Protoss.
pushing in and
They're
then
going
dying
again.
afterwards.
They found him. Toss back. And this is just greed. This is the punishment from every
It's
time
fine.
they see the Astral used. He'll live, but this is the threat. He needs to realize that if he used the Astral, they will make this move every time.
Top lane Madden, they dough him a bit, but he uses Scorched Earth, he gets out. So sometimes you see the Scorched Earth, sometimes you see the Devour build. This time we're seeing the Scorched Earth plus the Devour build without the Infernal Blade. At least not until level 4. And the amount of pressure that Infernal Blade usually gives you versus someone such as Terror Blade is insane. So not having it feels bad, man.
Avalanche move. Tiny try and chase through. Let's give you room to doom, but they can't do it. And they actually might turn around. The shackle's coming out. They'll try and do the damage. But, you know, as you said, this is not the I'm doing damage build on Madden here. So Roger can try and walk away. Hadouken Ball gets the kill. Moving across. Dream looking for more. Not got enough mana right now. Does have the wand. We get to charge it up now. Needs to do more damage to solo before you finish him, though. And Ramses says, okay, wait. He doesn't have much mana. I'm going to move in. Siren Jane's going to come out. Oracle tries to protect himself, but can't. Dream's going to try and move away. Gets pretty low, but will be able to do so. King R cuts the trees. Tries to move on. The Tango regen, is it going to be enough? Nope. Final hit's coming out. And that'll actually be the death of the Prophet.
Roger on Dream.
Oh, no, he's going to get him tossed across as well. Ramsey says, thank you very much. As Roger actually gets the final hit thanks to that level 2 toss.
Yeah, this time around, Virtus.pro, they're getting these kills. They're making the same amount of rotations, I dare to say, like in that first game, and to similar success. But this time around, their draft is actually gonna work. This time around, if they continue getting these kills, like on King R at the moment, they are chasing him.
Try. And turning around for that attack maybe wasn't the right move. He's definitely dead now. Threw it up. Avalanche tossed on the spot. Say he was waiting, but realizes actually he'd just be feeding if he tried to help there. We've got a quiet lane now. Look at the bot lane. It's just going to be contemplation and passiveness as both of the heroes that need to recover have found themselves in the same.
Yeah, that's the recovery lane, the rehabilitation zone on this bottom lane pretty much.
I mean, I've got to give credit to Madden. What he's done here is phenomenal, right? We usually talk about the way Doom gets played, right? We've seen the you can't kill me build. We've seen the I'm going to kill you builds. This is the oh god, please don't kill me build with, as you commented earlier, the points in Scorched Earth and Devour.
Mid lane, we see Roger rotating behind Kodos. Just putting one ward there so they see him while he's farming the jungle. So he's gonna maybe snatch the centaur. No. He doesn't want to show himself, it seems. He's just leeching the experience on mid lane. Kodos is fairly tanky once he gets these power treads, but right now he's not tanky as much. So he should be a bit careful. And you can see, he sees Tiny is not on the map. He's not bottom, he's not top. And their top lane is being pressured. So let's just not go mid. Let's just farm and not get ganked.
That's potentially exploitative value though, right? Like if no one sees them commit too hard to that push top,
So
he could go for the exorcism. Meanwhile in the jungle, is found. They were actually rotating towards mid because they thought that the DP was going to commit heavily towards the tower.
Yeah, that smoke was either for mid or for Terrorblade in the jungle. I believe it might have been actually Ramses that was being hunted, as they have to slow down this Terrorblade a little bit. He has 72 CS when you check the net worth. He's also on top. You have to kill the Prophet or the Terrorblade. Obviously, the only hero that they did get, sadly for them, is the Oracle. And the value of that Oracle right now is pretty much 0 when you get that kill. And you can see that Ember is wasting a bunch of his time just rotating across the map. A hero that had a very good laning stage is now confined into this position 4 rotating role, and he has to do it because his other lanes are recovering. As you said, this Doom is on the bottom lane. He's building into a Midas. He's just trying to recover as fast as possible so that he can join his teammates in any sort of actions. And Ember at the same time is just hiding behind trees. Here,
I do at least prefer the way they've broken up the map now, because it felt like they were committing a lot of time top where Prophet and the Nature Prophet, that is, and the Ember were together, whereas usually the way you want to play this combo is Ember be on one side, then Nature's Prophet just joins the kills. Split's coming in. Kodos has been found. The room up temporarily. Cyclone up in the air. Not by enough time for everyone to move across. In the meantime, Roger will go down Dream in the bot lane as that gank pays off. But the bigger kill is found in the mid lane by VP. And they will convert this into a tower push with the catapult glyphed up. Should be able to do it. Exorcism comes out. That's definitely going to be a tier 1 fallen.
Yeah, they did use the split. They did use the exorcism. And it looks like Empire might try and def this anyway.
They got the Serpent Lords. There's a lot of heroes here, though, so they need to be careful. VP don't have much left. Split is on cooldown, no. Exorcism half duration. X coming out. There's Serpent Biggie for Shock Nuke. Avalanche covers the escape, moving in. Dream trying to jump across here. Doom thrown out onto the Death Prophet, but this man's a little bit too speedy. Searing Chain's going to be there. Can they kill him quick enough? It's going to be close, but it will be the cigar that they're going to be smoking tonight as he can't wait long enough to get the Exorcism heal back.
They're porting onto him.
Gonna find him. Sprout's gonna come out solo. He doesn't have anywhere cutting the trees. Dream gets himself another kill.
Yeah, that's a pretty good usage of those wards. There is a little bit defensive, obviously, as you're using them on your side of the hill, right? Not using them in an aggressive move to take down an objective, but if you can turn that into a push, then it's fine. And they're doing exactly that. Yeah, overall, Ember just wasting none of his time farming, just using his power spikes properly and rotating across the map, helping his teammates out. And VP, they use the split to kill the OD. They use their big ultimates, and after they've used those ultimates, it's very hard for them. It's very difficult for them to fight into anything.
Kind of the beauty of the lineup, right? 'Cause you've got these two supports that commit so heavily to pushes. They can throw themselves at these things, die, or use the ults maybe away from those objectives you talked about. And it's not as kind of game losing or frustrating for the team as it would if you were a core.
Yeah. VP is kind of moving as 5 at the moment. I think Ramses, he realized that he reached that primal time for him to go and fight. He uses meta with the drums, with the Yasha. He can definitely be the one that just takes down these towers. And with the smoke up, they should go for tier 2 though. I don't think they're gonna rotate mid, yeah? So that smoke... Okay, this is what they're doing. They're smoking up to rotate a bit behind them or to pour to this shrine, and then everyone else is gonna come in and help out too.
Yeah, but look at the pincer. Because they've got the Shaman station top ready to push that tier 2. They're gonna pursue through. Roger knows what's going on. King R's gonna try and TP away. They're ready to drop it though. Yeah, man has got the Doom in 15 seconds. Exorcism's going to come out. Split's been used as well. Cyclone up on the Nature's Prophet, chasing on to Madden. Doom can't move away quick enough, so he's definitely going down. Ember does make his escape and will TP out. Say he was hanging around, but he'll TP out now as well. In the end, they do lose King R and Madden, but they get the rest out.
Yeah, so basically how VP defends these towers and how they prepare for a fight is... should be in textbooks. Like tier 2, tier 3 teams should learn from this a lot, as the way they force you to fight, the way they bait you into fighting, even though you know that you should be going back. Usually what happens in these situations is you trade tier 1 for tier 1, then the dire team goes for tier 2, they see that they can defend, and then they start porting in, but by the time they ported in, strategically it's not good enough, it's not fast enough, and Radiant just backs out and they force them back, right? They have a slight advantage there. But VP, they smoke up, they port a few heroes, they have Roger there waiting about so that he can cancel any ports, so you can't really port out if you are Empire either. And then they port in the DP that baits them into thinking that they can go on DP, and they just take a clean fight.
A beautiful move from a little harassment around the rooms. Actually full here, but yeah, it's I think it really comes down to like the most highlightable point from that is the movement by Roger. Like you said, he preemptively goes in, but the way he skirted Vision was so beautifully done. They never really knew. And Madden, he just threw out the Doom. They're gonna toss away the Terrorblade and say, "Live, go, retreat." Nature's Prophet staying pretty deep. Well, what's going to go down? They're looking on the Pasha. He doesn't have the split anyway. False Promise thrown out. Searing Chains. Links on the solo. Holds him in the spot. NoOne just trying to siphon some life away. But Dream with the haste can back away from this. Terrorblade go for the use of the Sunder. It's good enough. The Astral isn't effective in the end. It's actually going to be the OD that goes down. Now they're going to turn around. They're going to Pasha. Yules up onto the Ember in the meantime. They do get the kill though. This zap coming out from Ramses is big. Toss up in the air. Everyone is done on each side. Dream He does get the kill on a Roger, but Roger gets one on the King R, and Dream will be able to TP out right underneath the nose of NoOne.
It looked like VP was completely outplaying them there. It looked like they had everything they needed to do and that they did it properly. The toss back on the Panda, rescuing his life, then the Thunder control, then killing the OD. But in the end, one little Shadow Shaman, one little Shadow Boy zaps that Terror Blade super hard, takes him down with level 4 Ether Shock, and then Ember also cleans up with Sleight of Fist. Pretty well played by Empire, honestly. I expected them, after that Doom being used the way it was and then Panda just running away, I expected them to hands down just instantly lose that fight, but they didn't. They continued fighting there and they did quite well. Exorcism in the pit though.
Yeah, and they know the Empire's nowhere nearby because they've committed to a push on the bot lane, which means this, while it has been scanned, is mostly a freebie. Harass down Brewmaster a little bit. DD on Dream. He's got Sleight of Fist again in 2 seconds, but Roger's moving around right now. He wants to punish this. Sun's going to be there. Tossed up in the air. Avalanche going to come out as well. They claim the Aegis, and Dream is way to the Remnant, but barely alive. Push continues, though. Empire, they say, okay, we knew what you were doing. We weren't going to stop it, but we're going to get what value we can out of this. We're going to commit from the tier 1 into a tier 2 push in the bot lane. Let's go down as well. They did see NoOne TP. They were basically waiting, right? They're like, if someone TP's here, we use all. Otherwise, never. You deny it. The wards are holding on. Oh, they actually got the deny. NoOne. Beautifully done.
And they take down most of these wards too. So some farm there. Roger top lane, however. He's so close. Just let the man buy his blink. Come on, guys.
Gotta slow that down. No, well, screw it being rude, okay? How many of them have been close to an item and VP keeps killing them? They've had
rude.
enough.
Like, he's close to his blink dagger. Just let him get it. That's so rude by Empire. Shame on you.
Well,
Empire.
In fairness, King R was close to his Spirit Vessel. Now he hasn't. Adam being chased on 2 Yules to hold him in the air, and when he comes down, they're going to try and body block him up. Not effective. Spirit Siphon, though, will burn for him so quick. He's got his own burn going with the Scorched Earth. Just about gets him out of range of the Spirit Siphon, and that will mean an abort for VP. They can't find the kill.
Yeah, that bonus movement speed definitely helping out in that situation. Plus Space Boots manages to get out this time around. Top lane, this Ember and this Furion, they're doing so much for Empire. Kingar might die here right now. Oh.
Oh, Silent comes out. He hasn't got a TP for 4 seconds as well, so that's not an alternate option. Try for the TP now. They actually make... Nope, there's the Yules. That's the last thing they actually had. So they've been making sure not to stack their control too much. They'll get the kill.
I mean, he did die, but he created a lot of space, bought a lot of time for his teammates to move across the map, which they haven't really utilized that well, as they're all stuck in the Radiant jungle just farming. I just wanted to praise Furion and Ember, as they're basically keeping Empire in this game with their global presence, with their rotations across the map. Roger is finishing that Blink Dagger. He has enough gold now, and they managed to shut him down a little bit. So his Blink Dagger, considering he didn't go for Kane's... He did, sorry. His Blink Dagger timing 19 minutes in isn't the best. But at the same time, now he has it. And now they have so many different ways of initiating. You have got the Terrorblade and the Death Prophet just wailing down on your towers. And if you try to do anything about it, if you try to defend it, this Tiny is going to be in position and he's going to punish you. He's going to blink in, Avalanche toss you back, and you're going to die. So the game just became significantly harder for Empire.
It's interesting the way you bring up those 2 points, because they link in so beautifully because of that Blink Dagger. These kind of split pushes the Empire have been getting away with, the amount of time they've been buying through this Aegis timing has been crucial here. But next time, like, if you let them get Roche again for free, there's no easy way to split push this out without, especially your Nature's Prophet, being at risk to the Tiny. Remember can still do it, but what's your Prophet then doing in this game? Is he just hanging back? You can't afford to. The whole role of this hero when you draft it is to split push. Well, he might look to
There's
fight a bit more with the Spirit Vessel now.
there's a full BKB on Terrorblade. If you don't doom him, he's gonna destroy you. If you doom him, he has Aegis. He has Oracle. Like, what does Dream have? He has double damage in Maelstrom. Alright, he can dish out a lot of damage in the upcoming fight. So he could be their saving grace. And as this OD, he is just moving to his BKB, and he needs that BKB. He needs it before the next fight. If he doesn't get it, like he can just be bursted down. So we have a smoke up coming from Empire.
They can connect with anything. It doesn't look like VP or anywhere in the neighborhood.
They have the DD and they have the Doom, so they smoke up, and that does make sense. But at the same time, you are smoking up S3 into an Aegis Terrorblade.
Running out soon, in fairness. So they're just trying to patiently wait out, time this perfectly. Gonna move in. Hex gonna come up. Wars down as well. Jumping on the Oracle first, trying to get rid of the Avalanche. Beautifully done from Roger. Completely breaks up the engagement. And all of a sudden, Ember and Shaman dead. And guess what? Mana will be joining him in the grave just in time for the Aegis to be reclaimed. Empire do indeed come to VP, but it didn't go how they envisioned. And Roger, with that Avalanche, completely destroys Empire.
Yeah, as you said, they timed it well. They thought they had it because the Aegis is running out, but it's just so difficult for them to initiate properly. It's so difficult for them to jump in on proper targets when it's the Ember that has to go in first. And when you see Ember just chaining you together, it's so easy for VP to respond accordingly. And man, do they. Like with Roger, with that Link, Avalanche Toss combo just destroys Empire.
Empire's mad. They want to punish this somehow. They're going for the Brewmaster. They know he doesn't have a split. BKB coming up Kodos. He knows he's committed the fight now, but look at the right-click damage from Ramses. The Sands Eclipse not doing enough just yet. They throw out the Doom onto Ramses. They might be able to get through him and kill him off, but the Pike is just reducing the damage they can actually put out onto him. It's going to be close. He takes down King R, still running for the high hills, and they are pursuing, but Silent Stop. Ember can't do anything just yet. Terrorblade looking to turn around. Has his Sun up against Hexed Up. Can he get it off? No, he can't. He's going to go down. They'll find him. The buyback came out from the Nature's Prophet, so he can assist with the Sprout to ensure that Solo joins his core in the grave.
Yeah, that was not too bad. Like, they did lose the side, but they take down 3. They take down, most importantly, Roger and Ramses, right? So it's a small win for them. But they fought a VP that didn't have their ultis. They fought a VP that had to be running back. And that's why, more or less, that's why it was so easy for them. Now it's on VP to not crumble under this pressure. There's a blink on Seiyu. He has his wards. I guess they want pressure high ground, yeah. It's very difficult.
Yeah,
so they're just gonna go for the tier 2 on top.
Yeah, you can't be too greedy here. Like, you know you're behind, you know you just punished them. But as you said, you know that they didn't have their big ultimates at that stage. So maybe, theoretically, if you can take fights the way that sequence went, you can win fights against VP. Do we say 3 more times if you're going to sacrifice that many buildings each time round? Before it becomes an irrevocable problem? I think the argument here is that VP, like, if you want to beat them, you have to preemptively jump someone, but who's the target here? Like, who can you easily go on? Is there anyone? Like, I don't think any of the cores are easily approachable. You have to... It's a typical Oracle draft where you have to find Oracle, right?
Pretty much. You usually have to find the Oracle in any draft when you're playing against him, as he's just gonna save the target that you go on. In this game, if you doom Terrorblade before he uses Meta or BKB, I guess that's kind of fine, and then you can play around, find that Oracle. He's gonna show himself, and then you can kill him and the Terrorblade off. So that wouldn't be the worst way to initiate these fights either. But so far, Virtus.pro, they've been on point when it comes to covering their cores. In that last fight as well, if Oracle saved Purge, and if he managed to use it on Terrorblade, that like Terrorblade gets the Sunder off, it's a different story in that team fight. But sadly for Virtus.pro, they didn't have that option, as the Purge was already used a bit earlier. Now Ramses is moving closer towards his next little item, let's say.
It's a teensy tiny thing, you know, against all these disables. Feels weird, right? Like, Satanic, for a long time, you're like, oh yeah, that's great heal potential. Now, it seems like in the forefront of our minds, like, actually, the stats resistance there is huge. sure why that item actually needed that buff. I don't know about you, like, but to me it kind of felt like an unneeded buff, right? Like Satanics were being picked up pretty regularly before they introduced that.
Yeah, just made it a bit stronger. The item build-up got changed a bit, so they changed the 30% resistance too. Which is pretty good. Ramses is gonna have a blast versus Doom, versus Rasta. It's so good for him actually to have that.
Stage. What we're saying, it's important to find this Oracle now. It's condemning. If you don't actually snipe him as soon as you've doomed up the TB, you probably lose these fights because the Doom isn't lasting that long anymore. So if you waste 3, 4, 5 seconds trying to kill solo.
What do you think about Mjolnir on Dream? Usually I do see Embers with Maelstroms early on, but I don't see them quite often finishing off Mjolnir this much at least. Like instead of something like Shiva's.
It feels like the conundrum, right? Because he can't, like, if you pick Shiva's, you're like, okay, I'm going to be pretty deep, but you're against the Terrorblade.
Even Yules. Yeah, but it helps you versus illusions, and Yules would help you versus silence.
I think Yules is the big item.
Here.
Yeah, he needs a Yules because of the AoE silence, right? Or a BKB. Either one, you need, like, some way of getting rid of the silences. Because right now, if you commit hard and you get silenced, you're just dead. Crimson Guard slows things down a little bit, but VP, I mean, they got the Metamorphosis, they've got the Exorcism, they want a second lane. I'm not sure if you can really stop him right now. BKB coming out, it's going to be a jump in. Doom gets Hex straight away, though, and he's gone. Going to go down almost instantly. NoOne zoning the rest of them out, and Doom has no buyback. They'll realize that immediately, as there wasn't an insta buyback when your racks were being threatened.
They're going to back out right now. They use the meta, they use the Dead Prophet's ult. They just have to find a clean escape. If they do manage to, that's perfect for them. Furion is buying some time. He's gonna die, but oh, the split is used.
Oh, the split's gonna come out. Dreamfire up against gets killing solo now. Cycloned up in the air. Shaman been pressured a little bit. Pasha's just gonna try and walk this off.
He's fine. He has
no easy way to deal with him. Cyclone. Maybe you can remnant forward. If you time this right, you're gonna need to. Pasha. Oh. Can't move away. I mean, he's got a Hex, but it's a 3-on-1 scenario, and his team does not want to back him up.
He's fine with this. Yeah, he does die, which isn't awesome, but they took another side. The big cores got out. You have your Dead Prophet surviving that. You have Ramses getting out without being touched. Overall, that fight started very wrong for Madden. He blinks into a Hex from Panda. I guess he didn't expect it. Maybe they didn't see that Hex in Panda, but it wasn't great. In any case, Roger does scout them out, but they're the ones on the retreat, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the poetic beauty, right? That Pasha begins that whole sequence of events with the use of the Hex, and then is the one to die at the end. But totally worth it. You definitely feel like you got your value out of all of that, considering you got the entire of the bot lane.
This next fight should be huge for Empire. If they manage to take it, there's Roche as well respawning, so if they could somehow take a team fight, that would mean so much to them. But right now, their cores are just not doing enough. This Doom isn't doing nearly, even with the Crimson build, he's not doing nearly as much as Tiny, yet alone this Panda. And Ember Spirit with his Mjolnir build, like, I can't say that I agree with Mjolnir into Lincoln's build this match.
He was pretty far forward. I mean, he was scouting out. He's dead for 50 seconds. Now, Oracle does have a buyback. They aren't going to go in the pit to try and force it. I think you're right. Like, it's kind of weird when you look at Empire's builds. Like you said, the Mjolnir, maybe you need something to tank you up a little bit more. You look across on the Doom, who has kind of been forced to go this Crimson Guard build. But because he has this Prophet, this Nature's Prophet that usually get a lot of farm, he hasn't really gone for that tanky Prophet build we'd see in this scenario. Instead, he's gone for utility with the Spirit Vessel, which is fair enough. But then the Force Staff, it's a good item, but at the same time, he's usually using it on himself to try and stay alive.
Yeah, it is a position 5 Prophet, so we can't really blame him or talk about his item builds way too much. Like, he's doing the best he can. That Vessel versus Oracle versus Terrorblade versus Dead Prophet is a good item, so it's not too bad to have it, especially right now in this game versus Satanic too, it works so much. But uh, as you said it, like, you're in a bad spot if you have to be looking at your position 5 and his itemization and what he could have done a bit better, let's say, as it's not really on him.
The onus is now on Empire to do something about this Roche, because they're in there and they're taking it pretty damn fast. The X's are active, doing chains to hold them in place, but really, you do no damage. And actually, because of how far away Doom is, you're not in a position to stop them. BKB's by NoOne. He wants to make sure they don't come in because they know this is the definitive Roche.
I think that was a misclick, honestly. I'm not certain. Like, using that BKB that way, like, you still have an Oracle behind you. There's absolutely no reason to just pop that BKB and run like that out of the pit. I mean, yeah, like, showing himself off, I guess, and flexing a little bit.
He's putting them on notice.
In front of the plebs.
He's putting them on notice. It's like, when BKB off cooldown, we kill base. Which is fair. I mean, to be honest, what else are you going to do with that BKB in the next minute? Your Exorcism's on cooldown for a lot longer. Need to try and understand NoOne's unique mind. Who are we to question one of the best mids in Doha? Oh, wait, we're casters. That's kind of our job.
Wait, so what do we have? We have Hex finished on Kodos. Shiva's actually. So one of these guys got Shiva. Like, what do you think about Dreams, Lincolns? I guess versus the Hex that's just been bought by Pasha, it's good. Versus the Cyclone, that can be annoying. It's decent, but
how about a BKB?
It doesn't look like that Lincoln's is an item that's gonna help them that much. It doesn't look like a game-winning item. It looks like an item. All right, it's decent, but
I mean, at least you'll be alive when your whole team is dead. Maybe, you know, that's a I just
unless you get clipped by the same silence that was your problem before. That silence is AoE and doesn't really care about your Lincoln Sphere.
It's literally, it probably, like, the three main ones you'd think of is Lincoln's, BKB, and yours for Ember, right? It's probably it feels like the worst of the three he could have maybe got in this game. As you said, there's the AoE silence, there's a lot of control, so BKB would be justified. He went for a more expensive option. We'll see if it pays off. I mean, we'll see if he can even get to the gold he needs, because he doesn't have buyback as well as the other issue, so he's so vulnerable at this stage, and they know it because they can see the items on him. Exorcism used. VP up on the high ground. BKB is active. Jumping in. Madden trying to go in. The Doom's going to come up. The split's been used already. Jeeva's trying to zone them up. BKB from Kodos has to turn around. Tiny, Rude on the spot. Going to take a lot of damage, and actually, he might die to this. They did something there just in time to try and protect him. We'll allow him to move away. Kodos couldn't throw out the Santa's Eclipse. He didn't feel like it was actually worthwhile right then. Gonna be there on to Ember, forces him away. That AoE stance we were talking about. Now Spirit Vessel, Ramsey's getting low. Sands gets dropped, but no, this Thunder comes out. He's gonna be fine. Pasha low on HP. He might die for this, but if he does, he's taking someone with him. Remnant across. Empire gonna keep Dream alive for the time being. They have to buy back the Charm. In the meantime, Ramsey's ready to fight up against this. Needs to be a little bit careful. Does have the Satanic being shackled up. Nice AoE stance coming out. Means that he cannot hold him on the spot. Gonna toss him across, gets him pretty deep. Shaman moving towards his ward to be protected. NoOne just going for the racks. The Aegis has been popped, but Mega creeps have been achieved. NoOne. Will he be able to escape? Hex is going to come out. They should be able to lock him down. Solo dies in the meantime. Another turn around. Astral going to come out, trying to stop the escape of the Terrorblade. And they will do exactly that. Ramsey's forced to fight against 4 heroes. Will fall here. And they wipe the entirety of VP. But VP got the entirety of Empire's base.
Yeah, they wiped them, but they got Megas. And it's going to be a bit difficult for Empire to push out. They do have Furion and Ember, though. So these 2 heroes are good at defending and also pushing at the same time. But you could see that Virtus.pro, they were a little bit off in that fight, just you know, not really caring as much as they noticed that they're just in full control. What I want to point out is how much Kodos did with his Shivas. First and foremost, those illusions of Terrorblade were not ever a problem. And second, like, the armor and basically the passive of Shivas just denied Terrorblade the opportunity to even hurt this Outworld Devourer, even with the meta. And now I can't but wonder what if they had that Shivas on Ember a bit earlier. It could have helped them so much. However, they are taking the tier 3s and the Raxes.
Well, you have to commit here. Tiny did go in, but he'll be protected, trying to move away. Sprout, hold him in. They'll get the melee racks and look to back away. Empire aren't going to get too greedy I think you're right. Like, that Shiva's beautiful from Kodos. And also, you can credit this guy for so much in that fight, because there was a clear opportunity to silence Eclipse early on, right? But he didn't. Was that because he was trying to bait VP deeper? Because he knew if they like just get the tiny kill and VP back away, they'll still take the racks, right? So you want to try and get max value by drawing them in.
He was waiting to get the stack multiplier a bit up, right? So you're just chilling a little bit, not forcing your hand instantly as an OD. He started hitting harder and harder and harder in that fight, and then suddenly no one could deal with him and they all get team wiped. At the same time, like, that Doom initiation was very off, and Madden is having 2 rough games. In that first game, it wasn't really that great. This second game, his laning stage, he suffered just as much. But after the laning stage, like, these Dooms on that Prophet that already popped the BKB and with Oracle behind are looking very awkward.
Way to kind of look at it. It's just been the story. Like you said, Madden, it was a brutal start to the lane. And you know, pro players, you kind of move beyond that, but there are elements to stay with it, because while you might get your mind out of the gut and stop thinking about it and stop being upset about it, you were still impacted by it. You're still kind of feeling, to an extent, like you're recovering. I mean, he's getting up there now. It's almost 17,000 net worth, about to surpass NoOne. So maybe this will be the transitional point where we start to see bigger impacts out of these players. Problem is, X has been used. BKB jumps straight in, throws out the Doom onto Patra as well. The perfect target. Sprout separating from the team is going to go down. Shackles, Seiyu with a BKB going so deep. Will find the kill. Solo forcing him to use a false promise on himself. NoOne has his own BKB run and stand up against this man and just trying to run away. The Spirit Siphon on him will get out of range. Now, can they actually fire up against this? Looks like VP might have to abort, but they're trying to actually get Pasha across, trying to buy enough time. NoOne with the Spirit Vessel on means he has to get out. Madden chases for buyback comes out from Oracle. Nice Searing Chains out from Dream. Yules up in the air to try and dispel it off and buys enough time. Sans Clips comes in, but a little bit too late. NoOne recovers all the health, but can they get him low enough again with the Spirit Vessel? They just might be able to. Shiva's coming out, trying to slow down Ramses. The Searing Chains there as well. The Hex is there and reflected on himself. Ember is slowly killing himself off. Pasha tries for the kill, but the Remnant pretty deep. He's going to get caught though. Tossed up in the air. Ember is down. He doesn't have a way back into this 900 gold short of buyback, and that just might be commitment for VP to end the game. They're going in right now. Split comes out. This should be it. How do you fight against this? You've thrown everything, including the kitchen sink at them. Cycloned up. And going real deep into the mess right now, and Roger's ready to play. BKB comes out. Kodos moves in. Sans Clip's going to be there. He bought the refresher. He actually sold out live just so he could get it. Can they do enough right now? NoOne trying to move away. No exorcism for 70 seconds. BKB off cooldown and free. And now Pasha down to half HP already. Gonna stand his ground though. BKB from NoOne chasing pretty deep. Silence comes out to Kodos, forcing back to the fountain. And then leaves Madden behind. He's all alone. GG comes out. Game 2 will be in the hands of VP.
Yeah, and as that throne falls, you can see that VP, once they have a little bit of a more solid draft, they just work a little bit faster, a little bit better than Empire, but hands down, Empire has surprised me in these 2 games so far. At least they're playing really well. They have some problems, obviously, in their lineup. They had some laning stage problems in this game. Their rotations aren't really as fast as Virtus.pro's, but there aren't many teams that can match up Virtus.pro when it comes to early game aggression and some of these team fights around crucial objectives. They just excel at those, and that's why they're one of the best teams in the world at the moment. And with the draft such as this one, it's very easy for them to execute versus a team that isn't as experienced as they are. I think most importantly for Team Empire going into this 3rd game is itemize properly and get good initiations from your offlaner. I think that's very important thing that they need to change. If Ember in this game had a slightly different build, I think they could have dealt with the Terrorblade a little bit earlier before losing 3 sides. And if Doom got his Dooms out on someone like that Prophet before she uses her ult, or a Terrorblade before the meta, or even the Panda before the split, that's good. But a couple of times I've seen the Doom be casted on Terrorblade that used meta and BKB, or on that Prophet that used ulti and BKB. And at that point, like, what are you actually using your Doom for? their spells are already out. These heroes do not care any longer if they're silenced or not, especially with someone as an oracle on your side.
It's starting to feel like screw it, Dooms, right? Like, ah, crap, I'm here. This is the only one right here. We have to use it. I'm just going to throw it out. But honestly, all in all, from that, I got to give huge props to Kodos because he was the defining line for a while. He was the thing that was giving Empire some, ironically enough, hope in that game. But, and especially that clutch refresher buy. But it's just not enough. You mentioned straight away in the draft that the OD had to get out of control, and VP done a decent job of slowing him down. And I think you're right. Maybe if we see a change in the pattern of initiation from Empire, maybe a little bit more thinking on the items, we're looking at a completely different game here. But this is the way the game played out. This is the way it went. It's 1-1, and VP trying to continue that streak. You can never say it enough because it's just the trending pattern. The question is, can we see a performance like this from Kodos next game? Can we see some switches around from Empire? Can they cause a big upset for VP and thrust them down to the lower bracket? Or will expectations be met and VP cruise through to Paris? I don't know. Blizzard doesn't know. None of us know until we see Game 3, which will be here in a few minutes' time.